Welcome everybody to the Grand National special of the Dawn Approach podcast with myself, Rich, with Danny, and of course, the lovely Dawn. We are going to go through, obviously, the Grand National in a bit of depth, although I've lost my trend, so won't be much depth from me. We're also going to go through a few other races from Aintree on Friday and Saturday. And
all of them.
Well, as many as you've got for a Storm, because I've got jack shit. I've got jack shit for you, unfortunately. So.
And now you've no trends. So
and no trends. So I'm basically just a passenger on this pod today. So hi, just look pretty, right?
Yeah, smile for the people.
Exactly. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
We will start though with our. When was the last time we were on? 2 weeks ago? Was it last week? Was it 2 weeks?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
God, it feels like it was yesterday.
We did Maidan. We did the all-weather championships. We did a good bit.
And we did Gulfstream Park. Yeah, that's true. That was 2 weeks ago. Goodness me. Okay. Yeah, so we'll go through on the sofa and in the flesh, and then just discuss a few Grand National memories before we move on to the races. So go to you, Dawn, first. As you're probably the best looking one here out of us three.
And Danny's highly offended.
Sorry, Danny.
By that. You've broken his heart.
I'll have to crack
another.
Yeah, to ease the pain of being mugged off there. What do you want? Memories or on the sofa? And
we'll go with on the sofa.
Mugged off twice now. Imperial Pass mugged me off, and now you have.
Yeah, poor Bob. Poor Bob. Right, I was lucky enough to be at Leopardstown on Sunday. It was for Classic Trials Day, and there was some lovely, lovely flatties out. And I don't know whether you guys are going to follow me on this. After next week, I'm going to do a 5 to follow.
Yeah.
So I'm starting now to get excited, even though my toe is very much still in the jumps. It was very much deep into Limerick today with 4 lovely winners. But in the flesh, Wingspan, who is Hydrangea's first daughter. Now, I have an affinity with Hydrangea anyway because my granny adored Hydrangea. And I know Danny will probably just back me up about Hermosa's first daughter, who's running tomorrow at Dundalk. So I was very taken by Wingspan. I thought what she was able to do on ground that probably wouldn't be the best for her was very, 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 very good. So in the flesh, it's Wingspan. And then today I gave the subs Neon Diamond. Now I was hoping Neon Diamond was going to declare. I was hoping Limerick was going ahead, but Limerick, as we seen with Leopardstown yesterday, was student day too. So it was jam-packed and it was going to go ahead, and Neon Diamond won the bumper. No longer the bridesmaid. And what I like about her is there was a bit of a controversial horse during the week in Ordinaire, but we love controversial horses like Imperial Pass. And Neon Diamond, I think she's one to definitely keep on side. I thought she took on others that had so much more experience than her. Now, fair enough, she had been a good second on bumper debut to Magic McColgan, but I thought today on that ground she was very, very good, and she's one I'm hoping now goes to Punchestown for the festival, or maybe we have during the summer too. I say that with the heavy ground again, but I'm talking about a flatty that I'm going to be following through the summer, Wingspan. I'm talking about Neon Diamond. She's only getting started, so keep her on side.
Okay, great. Danny, what about you? Anything that caught your eye over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to the race course the last few days. Soggy Thirsk on Tuesday, and Newcastle on Monday, but Wolverhampton on Wednesday is where I'm going to go. There was a horse called My Noble Lord for Michael Bell that ran in the 4:10 race. It's a Class 6 handicap, only had 3 runs, but I was stood chatting away to somebody upstairs, and I just looked down, had a quick glance, and I seen this lad, and I thought, bloody hell, his hands and heels above the rest of these. He just looks physically a lot better than them. And obviously he came out and he won really well. There'd been whispers beforehand that he was a lot better than the mark that he was given. And he's really filled his frame from 2 to 3. And yeah, he really enjoyed that 1.5 miles. And I think Hector Crouch came in afterwards and said he'd love soft turf ground on a galloping track as well. So yeah, he's a horse to keep on side, my noble lord.
Yeah, nice one. Myself, obviously, I was at Gulfstream Park. If you follow my socials, you know I got rather drunk last Saturday after some good performances. Yeah, me falling in a bush with my things up.
Good times.
But it was great fun because I was able to connect with a few people that I met there last year, and obviously the big race was won by Fierceness, who I did have a good shout for on the last podcast. So, but he didn't just win; he won by literally half the track. He was pretty much finishing as the others were coming into the bend.
What price was he for the Triple Crown?
What price was he for the Triple Crown?
80s. Do you know what price is now?
What price is he now?
20s.
There we go. So
Wow.
straight off, you could have got your little 𝗗𝘪𝘨𝘪𝘵 bet as he was cantering down the straight, about to win.
Right.
So he's a horse to watch for sure for the Kentucky Derby, and hopefully further on. I think maybe staying into a further trip at the Belmont.
We mentioned it in the community group afterwards, literally after he'd won, the price that he was, because I got stuck in a little bit because 80-1 was far too big. I mean, he may well not be capable, but at the end of the day, you're having a couple of quid at a price, and he's more than halved in price since then. So
yeah,
you know.
I mean, Forte won the race last year, same ownership, and didn't end up running in any of the races because I think he had a slight injury and he was like on vet advice. He was pulled out, but yeah, Fierceness at the moment looks like he's all guns blazing to go for the Kentucky Derby, and then hopefully up onto bigger and better things. And yeah, he was the one that impressed me the most.
Very impressive.
But obviously that was across the pond, and now I have returned back to home shores and will be paying much closer attention to racing over here in the next few weeks. Let's talk about some memories first. Grand National memories, because it's always nice to hear how people feel about the National. I mean, I've got plenty of stories. My family, I grew up watching the Grand National. My nan and granddad were quite into racing, but we're not a racing family by any means. But my granddad would always have the racing on a Saturday and would always go down to the local bookies and put his bets on. And we'd always do a sweep. We've got a massive family, so you had to rush to get your sweepstake in, because if you didn't go early, you wouldn't be one of the 40. So you'd miss out. That's how big my family is. So you'd get one horse. And I remember plenty of times, obviously we weren't allowed to win money. So the kids got prizes in like toys and stuff if our horse won. So I remember a couple of times that my horses would win, and I'd get like some toy dinosaurs or something silly like that, and that just like made me want to watch the races when I went round to Grandad's, because if he won, he'd get me sweets or toys. So why wouldn't I? And obviously the Grand National was part of that. But my first memory was my actual first bet. My first real bet was on Amberley House in the Grand National, and obviously won, and that's what got me hooked into racing and the sport. So yeah, me and my friend watched the National and had our first bet on Amberley House, and that was it. What about you, Dawn?
Well, it was bred into me completely, and as I've alluded to many times, it would have been when I was sitting watching the morning line and the papers were out in front of us and the breakfast and the bet slips every Saturday. But this particular Saturday was stressful but fantastic, and it was just if I wasn't as I got older, obviously I wouldn't be with my grandfather as much, or my grandmother, but the phone would ring and it would be straight away, what did we fancy, what were we going with? My granny was such a shrewdie too, and she would have been more the namesake side of it, but she would always pull one out of the fire, whereas my granddad, I think I have really picked that off him in a way that, like, you try to be too clever at times.
Yeah.
Whereas really you say at the end of the day, it's a handicap, don't overcomplicate it. It is a handicap. But the excitement, and you'd always know then when there was the big win. Now I would get money. I'd be brought around the side of the house and I'd be given like a drug dealer. And as the older I got, the more the money would come in. And if it wasn't money, it was like a decent cake or, you know, a full weekends of groceries. And you just always know that it had, but you'd always come out with money. Red Marauder would have been one of my first winners. He won at 50-1, but Tiger Roll for me, I mean, I just what he did and what he did twice, and to be able to enjoy the people's horse, and that's why I'm in my bit of tiger print too. And I've been so lucky to be in and out of, you know, Gordon Elliott's yard and that, and to have had special cuddles with him. And he's the Polament king. Like he'll completely harass you and give you a full body search. And he's just he was the little horse that could. He shouldn't have been able to do what he did. And he just did. And the 2018 one, when, you know, he hit the line and you were going, oh, did he or didn't he? And Davy Russell said it was the closest thing to heaven on earth he had ever experienced. And to even watch it, and then for him to come back the year after and everybody's saying, nah, he can't do it. Oh, no, he's going to be sunk by weight. He's this, that, and the other. And then he hacks up at 12-1 again. An incredible horse, and he's parading again. And I say to anybody who hasn't experienced him yet, go and see him. He's going to be bucking and fly lepping. His other mate, Silver Birch, he's going with him. He's 27 now. He's such an old dude as well. Mamone, I know he's there as well. You know, we all think of the Lately and Treadwell. So all of those horses have some type of special memory. But to me, the little tiger that could, and when he roared big. He's synonymous, and he'll go down in history, and rightly so.
No, yeah, well said. I think his second Grand National, as soon as he got round the first circuit, like safely, because that's normally when there's, you know, the chance that you're going to get brought down by something falling in front of you. Once he had clear running, it was pretty much like, he's going to win again. He's going to win again. So, yeah, what a horse. It's just a shame he didn't get to go for the third. But, Danny, what about you?
I mean, I haven't actually got that many fond memories of the Grand National.
That's good. I like that, though. You've got to even it out a bit. You know, everyone's like, oh, the Grand National is great. Danny never backs a winner, clearly.
Yeah, I've not really had many winners of the National. The main one for me, though, will have been Many Clouds back in 2015, because he was literally foot perfect at every single jump. He didn't make a mistake the whole way around. He gained confidence the further he went. Obviously, he came out the back of the Gold Cup where he just didn't show a great deal at all. Maybe something wasn't right with him at that time. But yeah, the way he pinged those fences round Aintree that day was just phenomenal to see. And obviously, it makes it a little more poignant now when we obviously know what happened with him. But yeah, he wore his heart on his sleeve, and he deserved a Grand National. So yeah, my fondest memory will be Many Clouds, because yeah, I think if I was gonna have a tattoo anywhere of a horse, it probably would be Many Clouds, because he represents a lot of heart and a lot of desire and a lot of determination, and that's what you want in yourself as a person as well. So yeah, Many Clouds for me.
Love that. Well, Nathan, if you're watching, who used to ride Many Clouds, then if we've got a guy here who wants a Many Clouds tattoo, so if you want to stick a couple of quid in, we'll get that.
I'll take a picture instead. A picture instead on the wall will be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I was there the day, the ill-fated day at Cheltenham when he won and then passed away. It was the worst atmosphere. It was the most emotional atmosphere I've ever known in a winner's enclosure, and he didn't ever come in, and it was horrible. It was horrible. But yeah, what a horse. Won a national, and he'll be forever remembered and go down in history, that's for sure, as will all the other winners of the Grand National. So we have a few other races. Like I said, I don't, because lost the work that I did yesterday. But yeah. Oh, what? You're saying that I didn't do it? Are you saying I didn't do it?
Yeah, like some pints.
You sound like my old teacher. Like, you didn't. Oh, I lost my homework. No, you just didn't fucking do it, did you?
You're a nice bumper, Philly. That's probably what distracted you. That's
maybe it was.
Any filly.
Just any.
A below
Loose
70
puppy.
bad handicapped at
Puppy.
Jepstone.
Yes, exactly that. Right, Dawn, take us through a few of the horses that you like the look of over the next couple of days.
So, would you like Friday and Saturday without Grand National Lay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. See my little rhyme again. I always
Love it.
do it. So, yeah, I'll start off with the Grade 1 Novice Chase. 𝗗𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗢𝗪𝗥. I love this horse. I love Kim Bailey. I love David Bass. Tipped him up for the 𝗗𝗪𝗪𝗡. Don't forget last year the 𝗗𝗪𝗪𝗡 gave us Faster Slow, who was second. He went on and won the Punchestown Gold Cup. And also Corach Rambler, last year's winner, this year's favourite again. So I think he's decent value. He's 7-2 at the moment. Very, very decent value. I know the way you're thinking. I know everybody is very sweet in him. He's 4-1 fun, as Danny says. He's also Limerick Lace's full brother. And JP gave a big shout for Limerick Lace today. I know a mare hasn't won in 70 years, but as JP says, she doesn't know, she doesn't know that. She's just and she's great weight, and our marks picked her for a reason. A shout out to Sway, who I talk about Matinee a lot, who's, Caldwell Potter, Brighter Days Ahead's mum. Sway as well needs to start being talked about. She produced 2 winners in one day at Cheltenham. That's incredible, So Heartwood here as well. I'm scratching my head because I say he skipped Cheltenham. He's the Rob Core colours, Danny. And anybody who's standing around the parade ring, look at his little heart on his head. Now, this race that he won at DRF, I know the way you're thinking, was 9th in that. So, it has produced good horses as well. But I'm going to go with Chianti Classico here because I have such a strong belief in him. I think he's a proper out-and-out stare. We can't win everything. As much as we'd like to, we can't win anything. And every day Kim Bailey has a winner, I just love listening to the man. So for that reason, Chianti Classico. And I think Broadway Boy has an each-way play chance. He's 8-1 here. I think he has a little bit of each-way play chance. The 220, What's Up Darling? We've spoken about What's Up Darling a few times. 28th here. I think that's an insult. 6th in the Martin Pipe. Langadan won this in 2022. Tronador is back in here. Tronador won this in 2021. He's 50-1. Crazy price. Absolutely crazy price. A little shout out, and he always looks after me on a Saturday. When I put up my bets, I sometimes watch the main races and then I go back, and if I'm having a kind of a day where I'm on my knees, I'm going, and not on my knees in a good way. When I'm not up, I'm coming down. Santos Blue always gets me out of trouble. He always gets me out of trouble. And Ben Sutton is up. Ben Sutton basically grew up with this horse. It's a lovely, lovely story. He's 11.5 on his back, but Ben takes 7 off, and the horse just runs for Ben. He loves him, this partnership. So at 28-1 here, I think he's value. What's Up Darling? And 𝗗𝗪𝗪𝗡, if I'm saying it right, for the double greens, he's 8-1 here. Letting Paul Townend go off at 8-1 is just silly. But I'm going to go What's Up Darling here and Santos Blue at each way play. So on to the third race. The Trusted Trader, Grade 1. I have each way for Mr. Giff here. He was 5th in the Supreme. Ballycallan King was 2nd to him at Limerick when he won by all those lengths. Ballycallan King won today at Limerick. So it's stacking up nicely, the form line. So I do not, Mr. Giff, he's wearing a hood. Willie is just giving out hoods like there's no tomorrow. So I like him at each way play at 12-1. I'm not going with Mystical Power. I worry about the ground. He looked spicy, although he was coming for Slade Steele in the Supreme. I thought he looked very, very spicy. I think he's wiry. Yes, he is bred in the purple. Yes, he's Galileo. He'll stay all day. But I just say ground, and I have 5 or 6 question marks here for him. So I'm going to go with Foxy. 3-1. I'm going back with him. He was back to himself in the Supreme. He's a very good third. He's beaten 𝗗𝗏𝗡. He's beaten Ballyburn. What more do you want? Foxy back to his old ways. The Melling, John Bon. 1-1-1-1-2. 1-1-1-1-2. 1-1-1-1-2. What more do you want? You know, I agree about Pick Dory each way play. Conflated. He's come out of the Grand National. He's in this. But the ground isn't going to be much different for Conflated. They're saying soft to heavy. Conflated goes on soft. So for me here, it's John Bon. All day, every day, John Bon. Pick Dory each way play. Topham. Your darling. He's got 10-10 on his back. Your darling has been a darling to us in the past. He was brilliant at Ascot. Absolutely brilliant. Also, half brother to What's Up Darling too, so worth a mention. 𝗗𝗪𝗪𝗡. He's great, but he does like it deep. He likes it deep. He does like it deep.
Don't we all?
But he's got a lot of weight. A lot of weight. So he's 9-1. I have underlined here 𝗗𝗏𝗡𝗥𝗢𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 He's got firm footings form. He won at Gowran very easily. He's 10-1. So I'll be having a little bit
33s
of
on
him.
Betfair.
How much?
33s.
Well, have a bit of him at each way play. You've
There you
got 4 firm footings in Corbett's Cross. Corbett's Cross today as the novice, that performance was brilliant. Brilliant. Next season, follow him off a cliff. He's brilliant. So I like your darling in here, very low weight. I just think, and yes, 𝗗𝗪𝗔𝗪𝗡, he'll be there or thereabouts, but I think the weight is going to find him out. I do think the weight is going to find him out in this, even though he likes it deep. Yeah. So the Sefton, Croke Park, 12-1. Still believe in him. Was not himself in the Lawlers. They said he wasn't himself. He was brilliant. He was brilliant at Navan. Absolutely brilliant at Navan. So I think if you look back to the Lawlers the year before, I often say it, go back, see what it gave you. Who was last in the Lawlers last year? Grange-Clare West. We've seen what Grange-Clare West has done now. Sadly, we won't see him for the rest of this season. Next season, excited again. I'm already thinking forward. But Croke Park here, I'm not going to let him go off at 8-1 at each way play. And Shanna Bob, yes, okay. There's still a question mark over Nicky's Yard, but I think this is a very good horse. He's got point-to-point form with Gorgeous Tom too. Gorgeous Tom was brilliant for Henry de Bromhead last week at Naas. His win at Cheltenham was very, very good. I think he's about 9-2 here, so I like him. Apple Away won this last year. She was 16-1 when she won, so I won't be getting stuck into favourites. I don't get stuck into favourites anyway. So Croke Park each way play. Shanna Bob, I think, wins. The conditional jockeys, Eagles Reign. Yes, love Eagles Reign. Only 10-13 with Shane O'Callaghan taking 5 off. 10-1 fun. Second to Lark in the morning in the Boodles, which you all laughed at me. And a good win at Punchestown beating Tranquil Sea. Tranquil Sea won at Cork 11 days ago. Dr. Nightingale was 6th that day. Dr. Nightingale won at Limerick today. So it's stacking up beautifully. The jockey has taken a valuable 5 off, 10-1. I'd grab it because I don't think when the time of the race comes off, Eagles Reign is going to be that price. Do you want to?
He's 16s on Betfair.
Oh well, even better. I'm giving tons of value here. I already told you I won't be doing a load of favarooning here. Yeah.
Okay, well, so we'll hold off for a second because if Danny's got anything for the Friday, he's going to probably shake his head at me. He might have something. Usually he does this. And
I know the way you're thinking.
And I have to edit it out, but I'm not going to edit it out because I'm too jet lagged. So it's all going in.
You're all good. You're all good. The 220 in the Waterside, very decent each way bet. I think the Hood will work a treat. It's still a well handicapped horse. It's a little bit fractious beforehand last time, so I can see why they've maybe gone with a hood on this occasion. Good mark. I think had to give away £8 when being beaten in January. I think that form's since been franked. But What's Up Darling would also be one that I'd be interested in the race. I think the Martin Pipe throws up nice horses every single year. Still unexposed. Jack Kennedy takes over this time, which may make the difference. 136, still a workable mark, I believe. So they'd be the two that I would play in the William Hill Handicap Hurdle, which is a 220. The 255, you've got Mystical Power in here. I think if it's any quicker than soft ground, Mystical Power is going to be really tough to beat. Even if it is heavy, Mystical Power is going to be tough to beat for me. Was unlucky, I thought. Came there really nicely before finding what's the horse called? Slade Steel. That's the one. Slade Steel, too good at Cheltenham. But yeah, anything better ground would be odds on. Will still be odds on tomorrow. But yeah, I think Mystical Power's got plenty in hand at that level. It's still a 5-year-old as well. Bags of improvement for me. Obviously, Dicer Enos gets the weight. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Mystical Power. And then what else did I have lined up? I agree with Dawn with Chianti Classico and the 145. I know the way you're thinking is a horse seriously on the upgrade, but Chianti Classico as well. How impressive he was that day, and then obviously you've got Aroko in there as well. So I think that's a tight little race. 𝗗𝗣𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢, who came there really quite nicely, in behind Factor File at Cheltenham as well, and you've got 9 to on the field there. So if you are getting involved in that race, then good luck is all I'll say, because I think it is an open race, to be perfectly honest. And I can't not mention Hartwood being a Rob Carr. So yeah, I'll leave that race alone, to be perfectly honest. But you've got the Sefton Novices Hurdle and the 440 race. Reading Tommy wrong, 7-2. You'd be a braver man than me to take that, to be perfectly honest. Jukebox Man, big difference in price. Obviously, it was 25 to 1 at Cheltenham. Don't think he's going to get it all his own way this time. You've got Quintara in here, who likes to get on with things as well. You've got Shanna Bob, who is an unexposed horse for Nicky Henderson. If his horses are right, then Shanna Bob is still got improvement to come, has potential there, but you are literally taking that to based on that potential and that all the horses are okay, even after Sergino winning today. I think if Sergino had got beaten today, maybe have a bit bigger of a price on Shannon Bob. But I agree with Dawn with Croke Park in there. 9 to 1 is probably a nice price. Dancing City as well at 6 to 1, 7 to 1. If you can get something like that, that's going to be my play really in that race. I'll leave the top 3 alone, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, that would be me for Friday, to be honest. In the Waterside with the hood on first time would be probably the best bet, I would say, especially with Paul Nicholls chasing the Trainers' Championship as well.
Okay. Yeah, nice. I think 𝗗𝗣𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢, you're right, has probably got a good each way shout.
That one was
flat track Jesus. As well at Aintree will suit. I don't know if the better ground, he might need slightly better ground, but willing to take a chance at that price. But I'm not going to be getting heavily involved tomorrow.
Yeah, that was some running.
Quite a trappy day for me. So.
And then
did he make your heart sing, Danny, again? Because you remember we had this about. Remember you were kept up the night after that race.
Yeah.
We were dazzled. We were both dazzled.
Yeah. But at the same time, look at Ahoy Senor today.
Yeah.
Beating half a length. So Lucinda doesn't send them down here for nothing. So, and that run in the Browns advisory was solid.
Especially when we thought that he was probably going to We're like, why running in that when the handicap mark is like was so good?
He was
running.
He was absolutely cruising, and I think the hill just found him out. To be perfectly
That's
honest.
it. So yeah, that's what I mean. Flat track will definitely suit. So hopefully the ground
9
doesn't
to
get the
1.
better of him, but good price. I think.
Get stuck in 9 to 1.
Moving on to Saturday. Dawn, you may as well go through the races again.
Yeah, and I actually, it would have been 4 minutes now that I look at it. So William Hill handicap hurdle on the Saturday, both Ramo and 𝗔𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗢𝗔𝗪, the two siblings are running, but I'm going with Ramo here. Charlie's up, Venetia again, and he's 16 to 1. He's down the weights, and he was very, very good second in the pre-Tomps qualifier. I think 16 to 1 is an insult to the horse here. I think he's very decent value at that weight. The Mersey novice, I think, will be kind of poignant because you've got the two half siblings in here. You've Caldwell Potter and you've Brighter Days Ahead. One of my syndicate family from the Keep Smilings we met on Sunday because 𝗋𝘪𝘥𝘢𝘢 had her first run, and he told me how he had taken all his state man money, all the other money that he had won, and poured it onto Brighter Days Ahead. And it will haunt him for a very, very long time. But we discussed how she is very like 𝗗𝗄𝗄𝗪𝗡, and we think that, yes, like with 𝗗𝗄𝗄𝗪𝗡, she was second at Cheltenham last year, and she'll win at Cheltenham next year. But what I'm saying here is, and I'm sad in a way that I won't see Caldwell Potter as much as I did over this side, which means I'm going to have to travel a little bit more to actually see the unicorn. But I'm going to have a sibling reverse forecast here. So I'm saying in the Mersey novice, it's going to be Caldwell Potter, Brighter Days Ahead, or Brighter Days Ahead, Caldwell Potter. I'm taking a reverse forecast, and I'm happy with that. It's poignant. The great mare Matney produces 2 in this race as a 1-2. The handicap, the 2:30, Twig. We love a bit of Twig. Twig is an old favourite of everybody's, and Bo Morgan takes a valuable 5 off. He's 11-7. Bo takes 5 off, and he's 13 to 2 here. Really, really like him for that. Then we've got the Liverpool hurdle. It was, where's Hewitt going to go? Is he going to go in the national? Was he going to go in the bowl? No, he's in the hurdle. He's 16 to 1 here. Just keep an eye on the ground. Keep an eye on the ground, because letting Hewitt go off at any type of price, and he's running, and Shark's not going to run him if he doesn't think he has a chance. Yes, he's back over hurdles, but it's 16 to 1 each way play. I'm definitely having a bit of that. Buddy 1 was fantastic. People saying that he was only a handicapper, he shouldn't have been in the stayers, blah, 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 blah. I took him at 40 to 1 when he was in the stayers. I got paid out. He was great. He's 11 to 1 in here. You've got Crambo, you've Dashel Drasher, you've Flooring Porter, Hidden Valley Lake, 𝘗𝘗𝗪𝗡𝗪𝗥𝗢𝗄𝗓, who is Tiger Roll's best friend, another one who would mug you for Polaments. 12 years young now, 9 to 2. He won this last year. I'm definitely, after the way he ran at Cheltenham, I'm having a bit of 𝘗𝘗𝗪𝗓𝗓, but I think Flooring Porter wins here. I think Flooring Porter wins here. He was so good with 𝗄𝗪𝗄, so good. The whole syndicate, the black and white crew, Danny just knows him like the back of his hand, and he's just a fantastic horse. $5,000 he was bought off Facebook Marketplace. I mean, it's fairy tale stuff, guys, and Aintree is where the fairy tales are made. So yeah, I'm having Flooring Porter to win. I'll have a little tickle on 𝘗𝘗𝗪𝗓𝗓 each way play, and I'm definitely not leaving Hewitt alone. And as always, there'll be the Buddy 1 bet for my own grandfather, Buddy. And the novice chase, I've got 𝗗𝘰𝘥𝘥𝘪𝘵𝘪𝘕 in here. I got trolled and trolled and trolled after I seen him win the Grade 3 at Punchestown. I haven't seen him since. That was back in October. He has the coolest ears. He's the coolest horse. He's 11 to 2 here. I loved him when he won the Guinness Novice Chase at Galway. I thought he was fantastic with that as well. I did at one stage think he was going to Cheltenham. He never went to Cheltenham, but he's going to Aintree, and I think at 11 to 2 here, he's value. JP Colours, what more do you want? Found a 50. Okay, yeah, he's 2 to 1. He just seems to get, I don't know whether it's performance anxiety, a bit like a Hoi Senior, you know, it's seconditis again. He makes scrappy mistakes at the last and it costs him, but you've got He's been second to Gaelic Warrior. In the race, you know, at Cheltenham, he was second to Gaelic Warrior. 𝗗𝗄𝗏 was third. We've seen what 𝗗𝗏 did today, and then at DRF he was second to 𝗗𝗏. So it's switching all around. So he's 2-1 here, but I do think 𝗗𝗰𝗥𝗪𝗏 will come here fresh, and at 11-2, I wouldn't let him go off at that. And finish off with the bumper nicely with 𝗗𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏. 𝗗𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏 has been good to me all season as a bump horse. Ollie Murphy had a fantastic win, and I loved to see Brewing Up a Storm winning at Fairyhouse. It was great. I love seeing the English horses come over. It's great for Ollie Murphy because he used to be Gordon Elliott's assistant trainer, so he was back to Mead. Jack Kennedy was up. Brilliant. 𝗗𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏's here for Bective Stud. Sean Bone is up. He's 9-1. Finish off the day with a 9-1 bumper winner.
Very nice.
And now I can breathe.
Yeah, no, you can.
Danny? We will start off with the Turner's Mersey Novices Hurdle. Caldwell Potter comes here fresh. Gonna be the horse to beat for me. Has to give £7 to Brighter Days Ahead. I think if Jack Kennedy could have rode that race again last time, he may well have ridden it a little bit differently. I think she's a lot better than what she showed. But Caldwell Potter does have a year on her. You've got Jimmy Desoy in here as well, who ran well. 𝗗𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 it's a nice little race, to be fair, but I'd probably side with Caldwell Potter. I think he's been kept fresh for a reason, and I think he'll be tough to beat, to be perfectly honest, in that race. We'll then go to the Liverpool Hurdle. I'm going to stick with Strong Leader. I think a lot of these have obviously been taking each other on. I know you're probably thinking, why aren't you off for Hidden Valley Lake? But yeah. I will stick with Strong Leader, just because I think that he's been screaming out for 3 miles, and obviously he's only had that one attempt at it last time in the Cleve. The form hasn't really worked out that well with the two in front of him that day, Paisley Park and Noble Yates not doing a great deal in the hurdle at Cheltenham there, but I just think he's unexposed at the trip. I think you've got to try and look for some sort of different angles. The flatter track will probably suit him much better. And Ollie Murphy has always said he's up there with the best of what he's got, and we're just waiting to see him to achieve something like what Ollie Murphy has said he's capable of. So I'll stick with Strong Leader at 10-1 in that race. And then we will go to the bumper race. I think you are going to be brave to take on anything that Ben Pollan puts out in any bumper division at the moment, because we've seen what the yard are capable of today. Obviously, reversed that form with the Dan Skelton horse today. No questions asked runs for the yard in the bumper. So I'll stick with that horse at around 12-1. But I will just go a little bit further afield and mention that Via Sistina is back out again on Saturday morning. Runs in the 6:55 Queen Elizabeth Stakes at Randwick. Is probably going to be good to soft ground. It's going to be different to what she encountered last time, but we know she had form good to soft ground over here. She's a lovely moving animal. She'll probably be in and around odds on. If you can get anything better than odds on, then I'd be keen to get involved with her, because she was really impressive, and it was hard not to be taken by how impressive she actually was last time. I mean, the 11-4 that we were able to take was a bit of a joke, really. She gets weight off the majority of the field in that race there, and yeah, she's going to be hard to beat. Obviously, James McDonald keeping the ride there, so yeah, Via Sistina, we're going all the way out to Australia, and we're keeping her on side.
Woo. Okay, I'm just going to give a shout to two. They're not great prices, unfortunately, but in the Mersey, I'm going to go against you, Danny, unfortunately, but I am sticking with the siblings, but it's Brighter Days Ahead for me. I think the Mersey is usually a good race. Irish Point won last year, and I think, like you say, Jack maybe didn't have his finest hour on her at Cheltenham, but I did also think that her on slightly better ground, which I think, looking at today's racing and the official going, it's not as bad as they were first thinking.
Slightly better ground or a flatter track?
Well, that as well. That's what I've got as well. Yeah, so I think the
ground
will help. The ground will help. I think she'll get through it a bit better, but then she doesn't have to climb a hill either. You know, that will probably be to her preference. She's obviously getting weight against all the other rivals for being a mare.
Yeah.
And, I think getting that weight, I'm willing to give her another crack at 2 to 1.
She's going to be tough to beat. She's going to be tough to beat.
That's it. And 2 to 1, I think was. I mean, what price was she at Cheltenham? She was odds on, wasn't she? Nearly.
So she'll probably be around. I think she might be probably around 13 to 8, 6 to 5, maybe.
Yeah, so I think you can get 2 to 1 on Betfair right now, so that's okay, I think. And then the other horse is in the bumper. I think we've all gone for one in the bumper here, but I was looking forward to seeing Mr. Megget run at Cheltenham, and they've obviously swerved Cheltenham. I gave a good shout on the podcast for Cheltenham. The horse won as he liked in his prep run before. You don't necessarily always know what's in behind, but I'd like to think that he's something that's slightly better than average. And I think around 5 to 2 on the exchange at the moment is okay. It's not an amazing price considering you've got a lot of horses that are unbeaten, but I think this horse could be pretty decent. So I'm gonna go with those 2, and I might just stick them in a little double, not £1,000 double like 𝗗𝗪𝗪𝗡 in Pere Pass today.
That was tasty. That was tasty.
But yeah, that's the races wrapped up. Apart from the big one, who do we go to first? Who do we want to hear from first? I think obviously we want to hear from Dawn first. So we will let you crack on, Dawn, with the 2024 Randox Grand National.
Well, firstly, I'll say not to boast or anything, but my strike rate is usually quite good in here. Now, 2018, I had 5 out of the top 6, so I was pretty chuffed, including the winner. So when you can crack a handicap or beat the handicapper, you know, that's what gets me off sometimes. So I've a case for a few in here, so if you bear with me, I'll give you my cases very quick. Not a case of you, but a case of few. I'll start off with my darling Delta. Now, yeah, he missed the cross country this year through no fault of his own. The 6th in the Boyne. I kept saying, even when he was going for the cross country, it was like what they did with Tiger Roll. You know, just set him up nicely, got him ready. Didn't go quite his way back in November. He wasn't quite right, and Gordon was very open about that. Jack has taken the ride. Now, I went into Paddy Power yesterday because I enjoyed the feel of print on paper, and I had my little bet, and I got Delta at 28s. When I look tonight, he's now 18s. He's gonna like the ground, so is Cocoa Beach. Obviously, look, he's 11-4 on his back, but he was unlucky last year. But a lot of horses were unlucky last year with the chaos that was going on, you know. And he did, even when he was jockeyless, him and Eva's Oscar both banged into each other. And even when he was jockeyless, crossing the line and he ran to Alice, he'd actually passed Korak Rambler jockey free. I'm not saying he won it, I'm not. He's the cross country king. He'll like going around. He was 3rd in 2022 to Noble Yates, and he's got his tongue strap on again. Occasionally he has cheek pieces. He doesn't have cheek pieces this time. So I really like him here. He's now 18 to 1. I don't think he's going to be 18-1 come Saturday morning. He's my black beauty. He's Mr. Tall, Dark and Handsome. And if I forsaked him now, I never truly believed in him. So I've backed him every time he's run, and I have backed him again. I like Capodanno, Keaton the seat. He's 25 to 1. He was only beaten by a neck in the Ryanair. He got his resurgence in the Cotswolds. I know you, Rich, you had him once upon a time for a Gold Cup. You know, and he was 3rd to Galloping in that Savills at Christmas. Jerry Calam was 2nd. He only went down by a nose. We've seen what Jerry Calam did today. He pulled up in this last year. but he wasn't himself last year. I'm going to make just a mention because we have so many stories in here, and I know you're going to touch on, or Danny will, on Kitty's Light. Late Night Pass in here has a lovely story too. You know, you've got Gina Andrews riding for Tim Ellis. Tim Ellis is her husband, and the horse was originally with Dan Skelton when she won on him at Cheltenham in the cross country in December. If you remember, he was second in November to Foxy Jacks. And look, he's only got 10-10 on his back. He's a good horse, and it's a proper family story here, you know. And if you want to support some of the lady jockeys in this, I always thought it would be Bryony that would be the first to do it, but when Rachel did it, you know, it's just, at the end of the day, we're all equal on the turf, but it's lovely to see. And I will be having a little tiny bet on Gina Andrews because I think it's a great story. My old friend Adamantly Chosen with 10-9 here. Adam, he was my 5 to follow the year before. He won his grade 3 back in 2022 at Punchestown in the October, and I'll always remember this because a photographer turned to me and he said, "You're going to see the next coming here." He was talking about Marine Nationale. So you had Marine win that day, you'd Adam win that day. Now Adam is only 7. Sean O'Keefe is on him. He's 40 to 1. His win the last day, I didn't think he'd go on the ground, and he seemed to love it. 7 to Heartwood at DRF. I mentioned that race earlier, that race at DRF that I know the way you're thinking was 9th in. He was 7th in the Browns the year before. He's been 2nd to Jerry Colomina Faheen, and he was 2nd to the ill-fated Mighty Potter in 2023. And Brian Hayes, when he was riding him that day, thought he was traveling, thought he had the race, and then he said no, he had just found something better. But the people who used to own Adamant Approach, who was a fantastic horse in his own right, Adamantly Chosen is theirs, so he's a real family horse too. And I think at 40 to 1 with only 10-9 on his back, you'd be foolish to let him go. Chemical Energy got a strong mention today. We haven't seen him since he was 6th in that Kerry National, but I always refer back to that Kerry National. Salvador Ziggy, 𝗔𝗪𝗧, Foxy Jacks, the Goffer. The Goffer is also in here, but I think it's too far for the Goffer. 2nd in the National Hunt Chase last year to 𝗗𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗢𝗪. 10-13 on his back. Now I'm going to mention another one who, you know, people who are David Maxwell fans. I know, Rich, you know, he's really your father.
That's what everyone keeps saying, don't they? I keep like defending the guy, which, you know, rightly or wrongly, I just think he's a great guy, and everyone's now said that he must be my dad because I defend him so much. So.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there is a strong resemblance. I mean, he didn't get around today on
strong resemblance.
I think it must just be the colour I wear every time. Is it just the colour?
So yeah. So he's after buying himself a lovely horse. He's taken it away from Rob Core. Ain't that a shame? Who won the Thyestes? Henry de Bromhead is still training the horse. Maxi is 50 to 1 here. He's going to be going round, only 10-13, so he probably hasn't had, as Bryony said earlier, a lot of breakfast bacon rolls for a long time. But just, you know, get behind him. He'll be enjoying himself going round. So ain't that a shame? He's a good horse as well. Cocoa Beach, obviously I'm going to mention because he was so good to us in the Tri-Town. He won the cross country at Punchestown. Stupidly, we left him alone. We shouldn't have left him alone. Jack said that was the best feel he had got from a horse going around a cross country. He was 3rd in the Munster National that 𝗔𝗪𝗪𝗡 won. I often follow that line. And he was 8 in this in 2022. He pulled up in it last year, but he was so good when he was sunk with about weight within the Beechers as well back in December. Panda Boy, I know Danny's going to mention him. We've been following him for a long time now. He's got a ridiculous lightweight on him, and he's been 5th in an Irish National. Our JJ Slevin, who has won the Irish National. I mean, I'd only be too happy to see him win the English National as well. And with JJ, he is fearless. You want somebody like that who is so fearless, and to watch him, even like watching him with Lark in the morning, he throws the kitchen sink at them. So if there's something left in Panda Boy, and Martin Brazel's other horse didn't get in, 𝗗𝗪𝗪𝗡. So, you know, this is the only one for Martin in the race. And I just think this horse at that weight, you know, in the Paddy Power chase as well, he was great. Limerick Lace, JP McManus, I mentioned, I know the way you're thinking, the full sister. She was brilliant at Cheltenham. She shouldn't have gone off at 3-1. Mark Walsh decided to take the ride. Yes, the mare hasn't won in 70 years, but as JP says, she doesn't know how that she's a mare. And Nasalam, if it's sloppy, 20-1 fun. I'd love to see Keelan get the win on him, but it needs to be so soft and so sloppy. So, Jesus. Now I'm going to have to give you a winner. I've made cases for half of them, but I think Capodanno is dangerous, letting him go off at a big price. So I'm going to have each way play on him. Delta Work top trees, adamantly chosen at a whopper at each way. And we've always been all over Panda Boy, and it would be silly to leave him alone now.
Yes. Yes.
Very much, Dawn. That's good.
Panda Panda.
You're allowed to give a few in this because it's the Grand National. You know, nobody backs just one, do they? And expect to get
No.
But yeah, Danny, I know you've been raving about Panda Boy since like October. He doesn't pass any trends. I do remember what I wrote down with the trends. Well, a little bit of it until I lost my work.
And Panda Boy didn't fail any of them, did he?
But he clearly didn't fail any trends because I don't have any trends to show you. So you can give a good shout.
He was all
Panda
over
Boy.
them. It was all black and white. Everything black and white.
Well, I think if you want to see a horse plotted up, then watch Panda Boy's last run, because he was over hurdles. It was at the DRF. He was, 10th, 11th, coming to the third last or something. And then JJ Stavum just gave him half an inch of rain and he absolutely flew home, got beat 2 1/4 lengths. So it kind of tells you there's plenty in the tank. I mean, I know obviously that's over hurdles, but it's more a pipe opener, more to see what's there. Let's not get too high in a handicap. Let's try and go a little bit unnoticed. And Panda Boy's got bags of ability. He's got bags of stamina. We all know how talented Martin Brazil is at targeting these kind of races. I mean, obviously, he a little bit quiet at Cheltenham to what he previously has had. And I think he's maybe been gearing the likes of Panda Boy up to this. His mind's been elsewhere, I think it's safe to say. And he's a lovely looking horse. And he jumps and travels and does everything that's asked of him. So I think he's the type of caliber, the caliber of horse that you want in this race, the type of horse that has got those attributes that you need for a national. And with that weight on his back, if it does get heavy ground, I know it's drying out at the moment, but if any more rain does come, then that's only going to be of a benefit. Obviously, I know you've got Corrupt Rambler in here towards the top of the weights, who's going to be tough to beat, but a year older. Probably wouldn't be keen to get stuck in it in and around 7-1. I've got Limerick Lace on side. I know they McManus came out earlier and said plenty about her. I think that performance last time was clear for all to see how good she was. Winning at Cheltenham, beating Dino Blue. Obviously, everyone was raving about Dino Blue up to that point. It was a good performance. Whether she will stay is what concerns me the most. But we can't fault that performance. She absolutely pinged the last and was running right through the line there. Finished obviously second to Cocoa Beach over 3 mile in soft and heavy ground at Navan in November as well. There was £5 off the back that day. Running off 147 in this. Still a bit in hand. Mark Walsh obviously takes a ride. I'll keep her on side. She's got solid form coming into the race. And the other horse I will keep on side is Mile of Mission. Now, John McConnell is a trainer who is similar to Martin Brazil. Goes a little bit unnoticed. He's very good at what he does. He targets races very well. Mile of Mission is an out-and-out stayer. Has had issues. That would be my only concern. But at the same time, wouldn't be coming here if it wasn't A1 for the race. I think he's a horse who has to have special shoes fitted because he's got really quite flat feet. So they've had quite a few issues with him. But yeah, he's been lined up for this, and he stays all day. He jumps all day. His second season chaser, he finished second to That's All Right Gino. He wasn't 100% for that race. Obviously, That's All Right Gino subsequently passed away, unfortunately. But that was a solid performance. Ben Harvey keeps to ride. Obviously, not able to claim his £3 like it was in that race, but that was a good performance. You know, that was a 158, 160 performance that day. So if he can repeat that run there, then there's no reason why Mile Mission can't be involved. And I think he's maybe being freshened up for this. Whether he has had issues, I don't know. Possibly that he's not quite been right, which is why we haven't seen him for so long. But at the same time, it's possibly protecting the mark as well. So yeah, Mile Mission stays all day. John McConnell, very good at what he does in targeting these types of events. But yeah, I'll stick to my Panda Boy, and if I didn't stick with Panda Boy, Aurelia would kick me out of bed for Panda Boy. So I'll stick with him, and I'll have a couple of little each ways elsewhere on Mile Mission and Limerick Lace.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Danny, for that.
Panda Boy wins the national.
Panda Boy, Panda Boy.
Just
get
have
that
him
dancing
poke
going.
his head up, Danny, as Rich is talking. Get him to poke his head.
Yeah. As I'm talking about all the other horses, you just
keep poking away.
Reminding everyone that Panda Boy wins the national.
Panda Boy wins the national.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, excuses. My trends are gone. I can remember pretty much all of them because I'm a walking scientific calculator, or not. But I will start with the horse that passes the most trends out of all of them, and probably has one of the biggest stories. Hi, Panda Boy, and that's Kitty's Light. Yeah, Kitty's Light passes pretty much everything and gets in here as bottom weight, I believe. The ground is a slight concern as it currently is, but anything that, you know, if it dries up more, the better the chances for the horse. But I think from a sentimental point of view, Christian Williams, he trains on the beach in Wales. His daughter has leukemia and is an unbelievable little mascot for the horse, and loves the horse so much. And also Clive, who is the horse's groom, he had cancer a couple of years ago and has come through the other side of it, and he said that the horse saved his life. So just obviously it's a bit emotional to talk about it all, but I think there would be no more deserving winner than Kitty's Light, and there wouldn't be a dry eye in the house, that's for sure. And I will definitely cry if the horse wins. So the horse will be carrying a little bit of my money, and at the moment on Betfair, I always quote the exchange prices because that's what I have in front of me, and he's 17 on the exchanges, so that's 16 to 1 at the moment. So no more rain for Kitty's Light. But on the other hand, Nassalam needs all the rain that you can get. So if it pours down, then Nassalam. If it doesn't, Kitty's Light. So those two both pass quite a lot of trends. But Kitty's Light is passing them all. Panda Boy doesn't pass any, by the way, so you can get rid of him.
But we're Rich, we're here to throw out the stat books. You throw out all of that on National Day. It's like that. I've seen so many people say, Kitty's Light, he won't go, he won't do this, he won't do that. The horse will run for Betsy. The horse will run for the family. The horse, like, light. That's what it's about. It's light in all this darkness, and there has been a lot of darkness. And if he gives hope to other people, there's going to be people who only watch the National. They're going to see this story, and that's the thing.
And that's what it's all about. That is literally what it's all about. So the fact that the horse passes all the trends as well is even better.
I absolutely, I loved him last year because he had gone through 600, I think he was at 669 days of a dry spell, And he's always the gift that I use, you know, the one out of Harry Potter. It's been 12 years. I've done my 12 years of waiting.
Yeah.
And he just, that was him to me. And he kept coming back then. Then he came back as the jump finale at Sandown.
Yeah, Sandown was
again.
just amazing last year. It was amazing. So yeah, I'm a sentimental side goes to Kitty's Light. You've actually mentioned the other two that I have written down, which is good because I can't remember all of the trends. But adamantly chosen as a 7-year-old. 7 to 9-year-olds have a good record in the race. Has the class angle because he's a graded winner. I think you mentioned the grade 3 that the horse won.
Yeah.
Was it last year or the year before?
He won in 2022, so it was the good meeting. It's always the opener at Punchestown, and they always throw up 1 or 2.
Yeah, there we go.
That threw up him and Marine Nationale. So what more do you need?
What more do you need? Yeah, the stamina is a slight question mark, I think, but I'm happy to test that. And the price at the moment is 70 on Betfair.
It's robbery. It's absolutely robbery, and to Adam, it's an insult, you know.
Yeah.
So, and he's only 7.
Exactly.
So
yeah, he's only 7.
legs.
So let's see if he can. If he's got the stamina, he'll definitely be there or thereabouts. If he obviously gets around safely, which we hope for all the horses and the jockeys and everybody involved, that the horses all come back safe and sound, and we don't get any shitty silly business. We're not even going to touch on that because
no throwing ladders this year.
No ladders. No. The more time you give them,
what that's supposed to
come,
achieve,
don't they?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Hi
either.
Ben.
Yeah, that's it. That's enough of them. But yeah, the other horse I will mention, Capodanno, doesn't pass the chase starts. Hasn't had enough chase starts, and maybe was a non-stayer last year. But as you said, just wasn't in himself last year. So
what about Panda Boy?
I think he's got a fair shout, actually, as you already mentioned. But yeah, Capodanno, he wasn't in the same form last year, was he? And he's definitely got the class. He's also a massive price. I don't know why he is the price he is. He's currently 65 on Betfair, so that's a bit too big for me as well. Give another chance. He's run over the course and distance before, obviously pulled up, but we'll give another chance. And the last one that I'll give a shout to is 𝗗𝗪𝗪𝗏, Skelton's, and it's a mare as well, as you've mentioned about Limerick Lace. Haven't won in 50 years or so, but do these horses know that they're a boy or a girl? I don't know. Sometimes maybe they're a bit moody.
They don't care about stats and numbers.
Exactly.
That's
yeah,
the main thing.
I mean, the mare's not won for a long time, but you know, she stays for fun. The further they go, the better, I think, for her. So she's ran in the grade 1 Mildmay last year at Aintree, and course form, like Aintree form, is a plus, having been there and done it, because obviously the atmosphere can be quite draining for some of these horses, and having to go through that chute out to the start and everything, it can affect horses negatively as well as positively. But I think I'll definitely have her on side, and I think she's been a little bit punted today, actually. She currently stands at 32 on Betfair, so yeah, probably 25-ish with the bookies. So they will be mine. I'm not going to go anywhere near the top of the market. The only other bet I've had is after Cocoa Beach won for us. I got on for the National, but it's the same price as when I backed in like November or whenever it was. So haven't got much value out of that bet, but I've had some fun. I'm like, well, you know, it's going to be there. It's going to run in it. So fingers crossed, can do the job. Do you want to give another shout to Panda Boy?
He's doing all the work.
I think Panda Boy's just counting for himself.
Just win.
You've had your moment. You've had your moment.
That's it. And yeah, that is, as I said before, we hope everyone has a great time if they're going to the National. Everyone that's having a bet, enjoy it. Horses, owners, trainers, jockeys, grooms, all the staff, everyone involved, you know, have a great time, and hopefully everyone back safe and sound. And we've got a reduced field this year. We've got a slightly reduced run up to the start, first fence, I think. So, because they usually tear off, and that's sometimes when it causes a little bit of an issue for safety. But
well, they're all trying to get a posse early, aren't they? That's
it. But there's a little bit of a less of a run up. They're doing everything they can to reduce risk. You'll never eliminate risk.
You don't have to, Daddy.
Dawn, you're going to give us a nap and a next best for the whole weekend, aren't you?
Oh my God.
I am, but my nap is going to be that reverse forecast I spoke about. Take the two siblings, 𝗗𝘪𝘨𝘪𝘵 and Brighter Days Ahead. It'll be a 1-2. Turn it whichever way you want. The two matinees, 1-2. And my next best is Foxy Firefox. He is coming back to his best. I've always thought he's the real McCoy, and I think this is going to be his weekend. We've seen Katrina during the week. She was talking about 𝗗𝗪𝘥𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗢. She had, if you haven't seen it, go on to 𝘗𝘪𝘨𝘪𝘵, go on to Gordon Elliott's Instagram. You'll see all about 𝗗𝗪𝘥𝗥𝗢𝗥. You'll see Katrina, and Katrina is who does Foxy Firefox, and he's her baby. And it was just, when he was third into Supreme, it was like he had won. So he's my next best. And then the sibling reverse forecast in the form of 𝗗𝘪𝘨𝘪𝘨 and Brighter Days Ahead.
Well, let's hope that Brighter Days Ahead finds the 1 position, because she is my nap. And then Mr. Megget will be my next best. Basically, the only 2 horses I gave you are probably the only 2 I'm going to have a bet on, apart from in the National. And yeah, Brighter Days Ahead, Mr. Megget, just double them up. They both win. Danny?
I'll just mention that we've got the Craven meeting starting next week, which basically means it's the start of the flat, the proper start of the flat. So enjoy the National, but Craven meeting's upon us. And then before you know it, it'll be the Guineas. And we're getting right stuck in.
Rolling.
Then we're rolling. Then we're really rolling. Before you know it, Royal Ascot will be
Royal
behind us.
Ascot, York, the Arc.
Oh, it's all coming.
Dundalk tomorrow night. Dundalk Saturday night.
2 Dundalk Fundalks.
Dundalk tomorrow night. We've got one at Dundalk tomorrow night, haven't we?
Have we? Is this your nap?
Danny does.
We've got a horse that we've been waiting to see for quite some time.
Ah, yes.
3-year-old by No Nay Never. Now, he's the first foal of Dual Guineas winner Hermosa, who is sister to Group 1 winners Hydrangea. And yeah, I'm surprised he's come out so late, to be honest. I think there was talk of him possibly coming last year. There was a little whisper that he was probably the best that they had at the time, which is quite something when you had City of Troy in the yard. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. He's got to give weight away to a 100 rated filly in the race tomorrow. But yeah, one that I've got a keen eye on. I think he's around 7-4. So yeah, you might, if you want to have a little bet on him, then have a little bet on him. But yeah, I know that Aidan O'Brien needs plenty to work on. So I will have a keen eye on Igor Stravinsky in the 6:45 at Dundalk tomorrow.
On Igor.
Okay, is that all you've got? No nap, no next best? Just that?
No nap, no next best. To be perfectly honest, I think the weather will play havoc is probably the best way to describe the meeting at the moment. I mean, we did quite well today. I put up a little Super Hinds in the community chat, which returned triple what we put down. So I think we have 2 winners and 3 places from 7 horses, something like that, a non-runner and then nothing in the first race. So yeah, if you want to get involved, then join the community chat. There's plenty of free stuff going on in there, and before you know it, you'll be joining up to the subs.
Well said, well said. Right, that leaves us to let Dawn sign us off for this special Grand National edition.
Yeah. Luck, love, light and laughter, plenty of panda boys. There will be brighter days ahead, and fill your glass over with some Chianti Classico.